You know that feeling when you first get your hands on a piece of technology that just, well, it feels almost like magic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like pure magic.
Right. You plug it in, you turn it on, and immediately you just want to see how fast it can go.
Exactly. Because, I mean, we've been conditioned by the last 20 years of tech to expect zero friction.
Zero friction.
You press a button and the machine just does the heavy lifting for you. You don't think about it.
You don't think about how the search engine finds the website, you know? You just click the link.
Right. It's effortless.
But then you step into the world of modern artificial intelligence, and suddenly that frictionless experience starts to feel a little, well, complicated.
Yeah, it really does.
It's not just a tool you wield anymore. It's a landscape that forces you to hold up a mirror and actually look at yourself.
It really is a mirror.
So, welcome to today's deep dive. We are so glad you're here with us. We're going to get into something today that I guarantee will change the way you look at the screen in front of you.
Because when the machine can do almost everything, the only question left is, well, what are you supposed to do?
Right. What's left for us?
And that's exactly what we are going to tear apart today. We are looking at a really fascinating document. It's titled Episode 17, AI and the Human Future.
And our mission for this deep dive is to explore what is arguably the single biggest question of our generation.
A huge question.
It's pulled straight from this text, and it's this: will AI make humans stronger or weaker?
Stronger or weaker?
It sounds so binary, right? Like a simple switch.
Yeah, like you just flip it one way or the other.
But as we're going to see, it is wildly complex. To figure this out, we're going on a bit of a journey today.
You really are.
We're going to start by looking at how AI can act as this incredible amplifier for human potential.
Right, the amplifier concept.
But then we're going to flip the coin. We'll look at the hidden dangers. You know, what happens when we become totally dependent on that amplification?
The trap of convenience.
Exactly. Then we'll dive into the existential crisis of human creativity.
Right.
Like, what happens when machines can suddenly paint and write poetry?
A massive topic.
We'll look at why the entire education system has to fundamentally rebuild itself from the ground up. And finally, we'll break down the exact new skills you need to not just survive, but actually thrive in this new reality.
And because this isn't just another tech update, I mean, because these ideas are quite literally about the future of human cognition, we are going to really take our time today.
We have to.
We aren't just going to skim the surface. We're going to pull these concepts apart, look at the deep philosophy behind them, and speak simply and carefully about them. We want to really sit with these ideas.
So let's jump right into the deep end. Section 1 of our journey, the big question and the human amplifier.
Right.
The source text kicks things off by laying out the two dominant sides of the AI debate. It sets up the premise, you know, will this make us stronger or will it make us weaker?
The two sides.
Let's unpack side A first. The text outlines the optimistic view. This is the belief that AI is the ultimate strength builder.
The great empowerer.
Yeah. The core argument here is that AI helps humans learn faster, work faster, create more, and solve incredibly difficult problems.
Which, on the surface, is the ultimate human dream, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If you look at the entire history of human innovation, it's all been about those four things: learn faster, work faster, create more, solve harder problems.
Like the wheel or the printing press.
Exactly. The internet. They all promised exactly this. So when you look at side A, it's very easy to just nod your head and say, well, absolutely, this is a pure advantage.
It just makes sense.
Right. It makes us undeniably stronger. It removes the limits on our productivity.
It feels like a superpower. But then the text immediately hits us with side B.
Side B.
And side B is the fear. It's this creeping suspicion that if we depend on this superpower, we might actually atrophy.
We might get weaker.
The text argues that we might stop thinking deeply. We might lose our patience. We could literally lose our writing skills, our memory, our intrinsic creativity, and our ability to think critically.
And that is the terrifying shadow of side A.
It really is.
It's the law of unintended consequences. If the machine is doing all the fast learning, are we actually learning anything?
Good question.
Or are we just, like, watching the machine learn? If the AI is solving the difficult problems, do our own problem-solving muscles just waste away?
Right. Do we forget how to do it?
The text is pointing out something profound here. Losing patience, losing memory, losing critical thinking. These aren't just minor inconveniences.
No, not at all.
If we lose those, we are losing the core mechanics of human intelligence. And if that happens, we are definitively weaker.
So we have this incredible tension. We have the superpower on one side and the atrophy on the other.
The two extremes.
And to bridge this gap, the text introduces what I think is one of the best analogies I've seen for this entire dilemma. It calls AI a human amplifier.
The human amplifier.
I want to really drill down into this. Let's look at the exact example the text uses to explain this concept of amplification.
Yeah, the text uses the example of a microphone. And it's brilliant in its simplicity.
A microphone.
Think about the physical reality of a microphone. A microphone doesn't speak for you.
No, it doesn't.
It has no brain, it has no vocabulary, it has no original thoughts. It cannot choose the words.
Right.
All it does is take your human voice and make it louder so that more people in the back of the room can hear it. It is a pure amplifier.
It doesn't generate the speech. I mean, if you stand silently in front of a microphone, all you get is amplified silence.
Exactly. Amplified silence. You still have to do the talking.
You have to bring the voice.
And the text argues that AI operates on that exact same principle. It amplifies human ability.
It makes us louder.
Right. It takes your intent, your goal, what you are trying to achieve, and it pushes it further and faster than you ever could on your own.
Just like the acoustic voice?
Yes. Just like the microphone pushes your acoustic voice into a stadium, the AI pushes your cognitive intent into the digital world. But, and this is the crucial part, the initial input, the voice, still has to come from you.
I love that. If you have nothing to say, the AI has nothing to amplify.
Precisely.
So let's look at the specific granular ways the text says AI acts as this amplifier. It gives a whole list of how it helps us learn, and I want to really take our time and analyze the friction it removes in these examples.
Let's do it.
First, the text says we can ask AI to explain this idea in simple English.
Okay, think about the friction that removes. Imagine you are trying to learn, say, quantum physics or macroeconomics, or even just a complicated software manual.
It's overwhelming.
You hit a wall of jargon. In the past, that wall was often the end of the line. You'd get frustrated and just quit.
Right, you'd close the book.
But asking the AI to explain it in simple English acts as a cognitive amplifier. It takes your desire to understand, and it dynamically lowers the barrier to entry.
It translates it.
Exactly. You are still the one doing the understanding. You still have to grasp the concept. But the AI translated the complicated noise into a frequency you can actually hear.
It's like having a universal translator for complexity.
That's a great way to put it.
The next request the text highlights is asking the AI to give me an example.
Which is how the human brain actually learns. We don't learn well from pure abstract theory.
No, we need stories. We need real things.
We need concrete reality. When you ask the AI for an example, you are asking it to take a floating concept and anchor it to the ground.
Grounding it.
It amplifies your ability to map abstract ideas onto the real world.
Then the text mentions asking the AI to make a study plan. This one is huge because it touches on executive function.
Precisely. Executive function, organizing, planning, structuring that is incredibly taxing on the brain.
It takes so much energy.
When you have a massive goal like learning a new language, the hardest part is often just figuring out what to do on day 1, day 2, day 3.
Just getting started.
The AI acts as your organizational amplifier. It builds the scaffolding. You still have to climb the building. You still have to do the actual studying. But the AI removes the paralyzing friction of having to architect the entire learning journey yourself.
It builds the map, but you walk the path.
Exactly.
The text also says we can ask it to create a quiz for me.
Testing yourself is really the only way to know if you've actually absorbed the information.
Right.
But writing your own test is completely counterproductive because, well, you already know the answers you're writing down.
It defeats the purpose.
The AI steps in as this endless, objective sparring partner. It amplifies your ability to practice active recall.
And finally, on the learning front, the text says you can ask the AI to explain this like, I am a beginner.
There is a deep psychological safety in this. As adults, we hate admitting we don't know things.
Oh, we hate it.
We hate feeling stupid. But with a machine, there is zero judgment. You can ask the most basic, fundamental question without any shame.
Because it doesn't judge you.
Right. It amplifies our ability to embrace humility and start from absolute zero, which is where all real learning has to begin anyway.
Okay, so that's the learning side. The AI amplifies our understanding, our organization, our recall, and our humility.
Huge benefits.
But the text also dives into how AI helps specific workers in their daily grinds. Let's really slowly look at the mechanics of these examples.
Okay.
First, it mentions that a writer can use AI to brainstorm ideas.
The blank page is the ultimate enemy of the writer. It's terrifying.
Staring at that blinking cursor.
Staring at a blinking cursor can completely freeze your creativity.
Yeah.
The AI acts as an imagination amplifier.
How so?
You ask it for 10 ideas for a sci-fi story, 9 of them might be terrible, cliché garbage, but that 10th one, it might spark something in your own brain.
It gets you going.
The AI doesn't write the masterpiece, but it gets you off the starting block. It provides the initial momentum.
It breaks the inertia. Next, the text says a programmer can use AI to debug code.
Debugging is notoriously soul-crushing. You can spend 12 hours looking for one missing semicolon that broke the entire program.
Just one tiny mistake.
It's needle in a haystack work. The AI, with its pattern recognition, can scan thousands of lines of code in a second and highlight the error.
It points it out.
It amplifies the programmer's vision. It doesn't tell them why the logic of the program is flawed, but it points to the typer so the human can get back to the actual structural engineering of the software.
Third, it says a teacher can use AI to prepare lessons.
This is a perfect example of amplifying time. Teachers are universally overworked.
Absolutely.
They spend hours just hunting down primary sources, formatting worksheets, and organizing data. The AI can instantly collate that raw material.
Giving them back their time.
It gives the teacher back their most valuable resource, which is time. Time that they can now spend actually looking their students in the eye and doing the human work of teaching.
Fourth, a business owner using AI to write marketing content.
Think about it. If you own a bakery, you know everything about baking bread, but you might know absolutely nothing about search engine optimization or copywriting.
Right. Why would you?
The AI bridges that gap. It amplifies the baker's ability to communicate the value of their bread to the world without forcing them to spend 4 years getting a marketing degree.
Fifth, a researcher using AI to summarize papers.
The sheer volume of scientific literature published every day is impossible for one human to read.
It's overwhelming.
A researcher could spend their entire career just reading and never actually experimenting. The AI acts as a reading amplifier.
It ingests the data.
It ingests a 50-page, dense academic paper and extracts the core findings. The researcher still has to analyze if the methodology was sound, but the AI removes the friction of the initial data consumption.
And finally, a designer using AI to explore visual ideas.
Design is highly iterative. You have to try 50 bad layouts before you find the right one.
You have to see it.
The AI can generate those 50 variations in seconds. It allows the designer's brain to explore a massive visual landscape rapidly, amplifying their creative exploration.
Okay, I'm listening to this list, and I hear the logic. I hear the microphone analogy, but I've got to push back hard here. Look at what you just described. If the AI is generating the ideas for the writer, finding the flaws for the coder, writing the copy for the business owner, and synthesizing the data for the researcher, aren't we kidding ourselves?
How do you mean?
Well, how is that not just replacing our minds entirely? If the machine is doing the synthesis, the brainstorming, and the problem solving, what exactly is left for the human brain to do except just nod in agreement?
That is the exact trap, and it's why the text is so careful to draw a hard line here.
What's the line?
The text explicitly states that AI only makes us stronger conditionally.
Conditionally, okay.
The condition is this AI only amplifies us if humans still think, still judge, and still learn.
Think, judge, and learn. If we outsource those three things, the amplifier becomes a replacement.
Exactly. Let's go back to the writer. The AI gives the writer 10 brainstormed ideas.
Right.
If the writer just says, okay, write idea number 4 for me, they are being replaced.
They've stepped out of the process.
But if the writer looks at those 10 ideas, uses their human experience to judge that idea 4 is the most emotionally resonant, and then uses that as a springboard to think of an 11th idea that the AI never saw coming. That is amplification.
I see. The programmer has to actually think about why the bug happened in the first place, not just accept the fix.
Yes.
The researcher has to learn the implications of the summary, not just file away unread.
Yes. The text is absolute on this. The minute you stop applying your own critical judgment to the output, the minute you stop internalizing the knowledge and just let it sit on the screen, the AI ceases to be a microphone.
It becomes something else.
It becomes a surrogate. It literally replaces your mind.
And that transition from being the master of the tool to becoming entirely subservient to it leads us directly into the second major theme of the text.
Section 2.
Section 2. The trap of convenience and the risk of dependency. Because, let's be honest, everything we just listed is incredibly convenient.
So convenient.
Having a machine fix your code or summarize a 50-page paper in 2 seconds is intoxicating. But the text weighs a massive red flag around this very concept of convenience.
Because convenience is the ultimate Trojan horse.
A Trojan horse.
We are biologically wired to seek the path of least resistance. If there is a tool that requires 0 calories of cognitive effort, our brains want to use it all the time.
It's human nature.
The text explicitly warns that this constant, frictionless convenience inevitably breeds dependency.
Dependency. Let's define that word strictly in the context of this text.
Okay.
It doesn't just mean being addicted to your phone screen.
No, the text defines dependency as relying on something so heavily because of its speed and ease that you structurally weaken yourself.
Structurally weaken.
It's like leaning on a crutch so long that your actual leg muscles atrophy, become unable to stand when the crutch is removed.
Because the muscle is gone.
Because AI is so incredibly fast and so endlessly convenient, the danger is that we begin to offload not just the heavy lifting, but the essential lifting of the human mind.
And the text outlines the terrible consequence of this dependency, which is the loss of practice.
The loss of practice.
If we let AI do everything, we literally stop practicing the act of being intelligent. The text breaks this down into 4 specific scenarios, and I want to dive deep into the mechanics of each one.
Okay, let's look at them.
What exactly are we losing when we stop practicing? The first example is students. The text points out that if students ask AI to write all their essays, they simply stop improving their own writing.
We need to really dissect what writing an essay actually is. An essay is not just a product.
It's not just the final paper.
It's not just a collection of words on a page that you hand to a teacher for a grade. Writing is the physical manifestation of thinking.
The manifestation of thinking.
It is the practice of taking a chaotic, messy cloud of abstract thoughts in your head and forcing them into a linear, logical, coherent structure.
Which is hard work.
When a student outsources the writing to an AI, they get the finished product, the words on the page, but they completely bypass the cognitive crucible of organizing their own mind.
They bypass the struggle.
Without that struggle, their ability to construct a logical argument stays frozen in time. They don't just fail to become better writers, they fail to become better thinkers.
The friction is the point of the essay. By removing the friction, you completely remove the education.
Exactly.
The second example the text gives is workers. It says that if workers ask AI to solve every problem, they lose their problem-solving ability.
Problem solving is essentially a muscle. How do you get good at solving problems?
By solving them.
You get dropped into a confusing, ambiguous situation, you struggle, you try a few things that fail, you recalibrate, and eventually you find a way out.
You figure it out.
That struggle builds a mental framework for resilience and analytical thinking. If a worker hits a roadblock and instantly asks the machine for the answer, they are starving that muscle.
They aren't flexing it.
Over time, that muscle wastes away. When they are finally faced with a novel problem that the AI hasn't been trained on, they will completely collapse because they have lost the endurance to sit with a problem and work it out.
They lose their tolerance for frustration.
Yes.
The third example from the text touches on memory. It says if people ask AI to remember everything, they use their own memory less.
This is deeply profound. There's a modern myth that we don't need to memorize anything anymore because we can just look it up.
Right, the Google effect.
But memory isn't just a hard drive where you store trivia facts. Memory is the library of your understanding.
The library of understanding.
When you hold knowledge inside your own head, your brain subconsciously connects those facts to other facts, sparking new ideas and original insights.
It connects the dots.
If you offload all your memory to the AI, your internal library becomes barren. You can't connect the dots because you aren't holding any of the dots in your own mind. You stop exercising your biological memory, and you quite literally become less knowledgeable.
And the fourth and final consequence of this dependency is about decisions. The text warns that if people ask AI to make every decision, they might stop thinking independently.
Independent thought is the heaviest cognitive lifting of all.
It's the hardest thing we do.
It requires looking at conflicting information, weighing your own values, anticipating consequences, and making a hard judgment call.
A real choice.
If you get into the habit of letting the algorithm tell you what the optimal choice is, whether it's how to run a marketing campaign or how to structure a business deal, you are surrendering your autonomy.
You give up the steering wheel.
You stop being an active agent in your own life and become a passive passenger following the machine's GPS.
So the casualty list of convenience is massive. We lose our ability to write, our ability to solve problems, our biological memory, and our independent judgment.
It's a huge cost.
This brings us to what I think is the most philosophically rich part of the text. It sets up a contrast between fast AI and slow learning.
Fast versus slow.
The underlying philosophy here is that human strength inherently comes from practice.
The text is incredibly blunt about this. You want to be a better writer, you have to write.
Right.
You want to be a better speaker, you have to speak. You want to be a better thinker, you have to sit in a quiet room and think.
There's no way around it.
You cannot bypass the action. There is no biological shortcut. The strength is forged entirely in the doing.
I love how the text contrasts the speed of the machine with the necessary slowness of human development.
It's a beautiful contrast.
It points out that AI is instantaneous, but real, profound learning demands time. It lists 4 specific things that require slow, deliberate friction. First, it states, deep ideas need careful reading.
Notice it doesn't say fast reading or speed reading.
Yeah, full reading. Careful.
When you are grappling with a deep philosophical concept or complex theory, you can't just skim it. You have to slow down.
Like to stop.
You have to read a sentence, stop, look at the wall, and actually digest what those words mean. You have to let the idea marinate in your consciousness.
It takes time.
A deep idea resists being understood in a single second. It demands your time and your undivided attention.
Second, the text says good essays need several drafts.
A first draft is almost always terrible.
Always.
It's just a raw attempt. But the magic happens in the revision. You write it, you realize the logic is flawed, you tear it apart, and you rebuild it stronger.
The iterative process.
That iterative process of trying, failing, and refining is how quality is actually born. An AI can give you a perfect essay on the first try, but a human mind cannot produce true quality without the slow, painful process of rewriting.
Third, it says strong skills need years of practice.
Years, not hours, not days, years.
A long time.
Whether it's playing the piano, coding architecture, or mastering a language, true, undeniable skill is built drop by drop, repetition by repetition over a massive stretch of time.
The AI does it instantly.
The AI can perform the skill instantly, yes, but it cannot inject a decade of practiced intuition into your nervous system. Only time spent in the trenches can do that.
And fourth, it says wise decisions need reflection.
Reflection is the exact opposite of a fast algorithmic calculation.
What does reflection mean here?
Reflection means looking backward at past mistakes. It means looking inward at your own biases. It means considering the human costs and the moral weight of a choice.
It's deeply human.
Reflection is inherently undeniably slow. Wisdom is not data processing. Wisdom is the residue of slow reflection over time.
So if AI is constantly doing the fast work for us, the text is warning us that we might become completely intolerant of this necessary slow learning.
We might lose our patience entirely.
We might lose our patience for the friction that actually builds our minds. To close out this section, I want to present you, the listener, with what the text frames as the golden question.
The big question.
This is the ultimate litmus test. The text says that the next time you sit down at a computer, you need to stop and ask yourself this specific question. Should I let AI do this task completely? Or should I use AI to help me learn?
That is the dividing line right there, the line between atrophy and amplification. If you choose completely, you are choosing dependency. You are letting the machine do the push-ups for you.
You aren't getting stronger.
But if you choose help me learn, you are using the AI as a spotter in the gym. It helps you lift heavier, but you are still the one moving the weight.
Which is a profound shift in mindset. But this leads us to a massive collision course in Section 3, what happens to human creativity?
Creativity.
Because if we accept that we have to do the hard, slow work of learning to maintain our intellect, what about art? What about the things that are supposed to be the pinnacle of the human soul?
The things that define us.
If an AI can paint a masterpiece and write a symphony, is human creativity essentially dead? Let's look at the sheer scale of what the text says AI can do creatively.
The list is staggering, honestly. The text points out that AI can now write poetry, it can generate photorealistic images, it can compose complex music, it can generate full video sequences, it can design corporate logos, it can write narrative stories.
Poems, images, music, video, design, stories. It can do all of it.
Yeah.
So here is my pushback, and this is the existential dread a lot of people feel right now.
Sure.
If a machine can write a perfectly structured sonnet in 5 seconds with perfect meter, perfect rhyme, and evocative imagery, why does human creativity still matter?
It's a fair question.
If the end product, the art itself, is indistinguishable from human art, or even better, why do we need human artists at all?
This is where the text offers a truly profound distinction. It draws a massive, uncrossable line between two concepts: content and purpose.
Content and purpose.
The text argues that AI is a master at generating content, but only human beings can provide purpose and meaning.
Explain that. Content versus purpose. The machine gives the words, but the human gives the meaning.
Exactly. Content is just the arrangement of pixels or the sequence of musical notes or the syntax of words.
It's just the raw material.
AI can arrange those elements flawlessly based on probability, but purpose is why those elements were arranged in the first place.
Wow.
To illustrate this, the text lists 6 specific, deeply human questions that must be answered before true art exists. The machine cannot answer these. Let's walk through them slowly because they are the bedrock of human creativity.
Okay, the first question.
The first question is, why do we create this?
Why?
Yes, why? A machine has no inherent motivation. It sits dormant until a human types a prompt. It only creates because it was triggered.
He has no drive.
But a human has a burning why. A human creates because they are grieving, or because they are celebrating, or because they need to scream at the world. The genesis of the creation, the spark that necessitates the art, has to come from a human being.
That makes sense. The second human question the text lists is, who is this for?
Art is essentially a bridge. It is a communication between the creator and the receiver.
The audience.
When a human writes a song or paints a canvas, they're often thinking about a specific audience. They create it for someone to comfort a friend, to challenge a society, to leave a legacy for their children.
There's a target.
A machine does not know who the audience is. It has no concept of the person on the other end of the bridge.
The third question, what feeling do we want to express?
Feelings. Joy, despair, rage, tranquility. These are biological, lived experiences.
Do I have to feel them to know them?
A machine can simulate the vocabulary of sadness. It knows which words frequently appear next to the word tears. But the human is the one who decides that sadness is the specific emotional frequency that needs to be broadcast to the world in that moment.
The fourth question humans must ask is, what message do we want to share?
A message is an intentional idea you want to inject into the culture.
Like a warning.
It might be a warning about the future, a beacon of hope, or a brutal truth about society. The machine doesn't care about the trajectory of society. Only the human mind can decide what message is urgent and important enough to share.
The fifth question, what value do we want to protect?
Think about the concepts of fairness, liberty, loyalty, or love.
Core values.
When humans create, we are very often drawing a line in the sand. We use art to stand up for something we believe in, to protect our values against corruption. A machine operates on code, not morals. It has no values of its own to protect.
And the sixth question, what truth do we want to communicate?
This is the pursuit of authenticity. Art tries to communicate something deeply universally true about the messy reality of the human condition.
The human condition.
A machine calculates statistical patterns of data. A human being bleeds onto the page to communicate what it actually feels like to be alive.
So synthesizing this, the text makes it incredibly clear. AI can churn out endless volumes of words and images, but humans are the ones who inject meaning.
Yes.
AI can help you structure the grammar of a speech, but only the human brings the personal emotion and the actual responsibility for the words being spoken.
Exactly right.
To really hammer this home, let's look at the 3 specific examples the text uses to prove why the human element is non-negotiable.
The examples are great.
First, it mentions a song. It says, if a person writes a song about missing home, the emotion comes from human life.
Stop and think about the concept of home. A machine exists on a server rack. It does not have a childhood home.
No front porch.
It does not have memories of a kitchen table or a front porch. It cannot physically miss anything.
And has no nostalgia.
Therefore, when you hear a song about the aching pain of missing home, the only reason it resonates with you, the only reason it gives you goosebumps is because, on a subconscious level, that a real human being experienced that exact pain.
You feel their pain.
The aesthetic beauty of the song is secondary. The power comes entirely from the fact that it is rooted in genuine, lived human experience.
The shared reality is what makes it matter. The second example from the text is a story. It says, if a person writes a story about failure and hope, the meaning comes from human experience.
Failure is a visceral, often humiliating human experience. Hope is the desperate attempt to survive it. A machine has never failed a math test. It has never been fired from a job. It has never had its heart broken. And it has never hoped for a better tomorrow.
It doesn't have stakes.
It doesn't experience time or stakes. So when you read a compelling story about failure and redemption, you aren't just admiring the sentence structure, you are connecting with the vulnerability of another human being. The meaning is inextricably linked to that shared vulnerability.
And the third example is deeply practical. The text talks about a teacher. It says, if a teacher creates a lesson for students, the care comes from a human heart.
An AI can absolutely generate a flawless, highly optimized lesson plan on the French Revolution.
Perfectly structured.
But an AI cannot look across a classroom and see that the kid in the third row didn't eat breakfast this morning.
No, I can't see that.
An AI doesn't know which student needs to be pushed harder and which student needs gentleness today. The actual act of teaching the desire to see another human being grow and succeed cannot be programmed into an algorithm. That care, that intuition is entirely human.
So where does this leave us? What is the ultimate conclusion of the text regarding the future of creativity? Are the artists just doomed to fight a losing battle against the machines?
No, the text is actually quite optimistic here. It says that the best creators in the future will not be the purists who reject AI completely and refuse to use it.
Who will they be then?
They will be the synthesized creators.
Synthesized creators.
They will be the people who figure out how to harness the massive generative power of AI while fiercely, ruthlessly protecting their own human voice.
Harnessing the power.
They will use the machine to generate the raw material, the content, but they will never outsource their purpose, their emotional intent, or their meaning. They will use AI as a brush, not as the painter.
Which requires an incredible amount of self-awareness and discipline.
Absolute discipline.
And that brings us right to the doorstep of Section 4, the future of education. Because if the creators and the workers of the future need this strong, unyielding human voice and this capacity for deep, critical thinking to survive the AI wave, how on earth do we teach that to children?
That is the million-dollar question.
The text makes it clear that the current model of education has to undergo a massive paradigm shift. Let's look at the contrast the text sets up between the past and the present. What was the central focus of schools in the past?
The text states unequivocally that in the past, the dominant focus of the education system was memorization.
Rote memorization. The text specifically lists 4 things students were forced to hold in their heads: facts, formulas, definitions, and dates.
Facts, formulas, definitions, dates. And you have to look at why that was the case.
Why was it?
For hundreds of years, information was a scarce resource. It lived in encyclopedias in a library. If you needed to know the capital of a country or the date of a war, you couldn't instantly look it up.
You had to know.
You had to carry it inside your brain. Therefore, the definition of a good student was someone who acted like a human hard drive, someone with a massive capacity for storing data.
But the text argues that this model is now entirely obsolete. Why? Because the present reality is that AI provides all of this information instantly.
Instantly and accurately. You do not need to spend hours memorizing the periodic table or the exact dates of the Industrial Revolution.
The machine knows it.
The AI can retrieve that data in a millisecond. The scarcity of information is gone. We now live in an age of infinite information abundance.
And because of this abundance, the fundamental metric of education has to change. The old question schools asked was simple. Do you know the answer?
Do you know it?
The text says that question is no longer enough. Instead, education must now ask a series of new, much more complex questions.
Much more complex.
The text lists 6 specific new questions that schools must demand of their students. Let's unpack these slowly, because they represent a total reimagining of what it means to be educated. The first new question is, can you ask a good question?
This completely flips the traditional dynamic. In the old model, the teacher asked the question and the student regurgitated the answer. Now, the machine has all the answers. The human's job is to interrogate the machine. Asking a truly good, penetrating question requires immense curiosity and a deep contextual understanding of what you don't know.
You have to know what to ask.
Formulating the right query is now more important than memorizing the output.
The second new question for students is, can you verify the answer?
Because AI is prone to hallucination and error, it will give you an answer with absolute, unwavering confidence, even if it is completely wrong.
It lies confidently.
So the student's role shifts from being a sponge to being an auditor, a detective. They have to know how to fact-check, how to cross-reference, and how to prove that the beautifully written output is actually rooted in reality.
The third new question is, can you explain your thinking?
If a student uses an AI to solve a complex algebraic equation, the answer itself is meaningless. The teacher must ask, can you trace the logic backwards?
Show your work.
Can you explain why this formula works? The student has to prove that their underlying cognitive architecture understands the mechanics of the problem, even if the machine did the fast calculation.
The fourth new question is, can you solve a real problem?
Real life doesn't happen on multiple choice tests.
No, it doesn't.
Real life is messy, ambiguous, and chaotic. Education can no longer just test abstract facts. It must ask students to look at a messy real-world scenario like organizing a community event or fixing a broken supply chain and use all available tools, including AI, to architect a practical working solution.
The fifth new question. Can you use AI responsibly?
Responsibly. This brings in the ethical dimension. Are you using this tool to bypass learning or to enhance it?
Or are you cheating?
Are you using it to plagiarize, to generate deepfakes, to harm others? Education must instill a moral compass regarding how much power we wield with these tools.
And the sixth new question is, can you think independently?
This circles back to our earlier discussion about dependency. When the AI spits out a perfectly reasoned argument for a specific political policy, does the student just accept it?
Do they just nod along?
Or can they stand their ground, critique the machine's logic, and form their own independent judgment?
So to answer these 6 new questions, the text outlines the specific tactical skills that students must now be taught. Let's detail these new student skills. First, they must learn how to write good prompts.
Prompt engineering is essentially the new coding, but instead of writing in Python or C++, you are using natural language to program the machine's behavior.
Talking to the machine.
Writing a good prompt requires precision, clarity, and an understanding of how the AI processes context. Students must be explicitly taught how to communicate with these systems.
Second, they must learn how to check AI answers.
This is the verification skill. It's teaching skepticism. A student must be taught never to take the first output as gospel. They must develop the reflex of healthy doubt.
Third, they must learn how to compare sources.
This is the antidote to the AI echo chamber. You get the AI summary, but then you must go find a primary source document or an opposing viewpoint and weigh them against each other.
Weighing the evidence.
It's the classical skill of synthesis, updated for the AI age.
Fourth, they must learn how to identify mistakes.
Which means they still need a foundational baseline of knowledge. If an AI generates a timeline of the Roman Empire and gets the centuries backward, the student needs to have enough general historical awareness to spot the error.
And fifth, the text says students must learn to use AI as a tutor, not as a cheating machine.
This is the crux of the educational dilemma. A cheating machine is a vending machine. You put in the prompt, you get the finished essay, you hand it in. You learned nothing.
Vending machine versus tutor.
A tutor is conversational. You ask the AI, don't give me the answer, but tell me what step I did wrong in this math problem. Students must be trained to seek guidance and friction, not just the final product.
Okay, but this raises a massive structural question. If the AI is acting as this incredible personalized tutor, if it can explain things patiently, create customized study plans, and answer questions infinitely without getting tired, do we even need human teachers anymore?
It's the logical next question, but the text anticipates this and pushes back incredibly hard.
How so?
It claims that in an AI-saturated world, human teachers are actually more important than they have ever been.
How is that possible? If the machine delivers the information better and faster, what is the teacher actually doing?
Because teaching is not just about the transmission of data. If a teacher's only job was to stand at a whiteboard and recite facts, then yes, they would be obsolete tomorrow.
Right.
But the text emphasizes that teachers build the invisible infrastructure of the human mind that a machine cannot touch. When AI provides the raw information, the teacher is the one who helps the student build judgment.
Judgment. The ability to weigh nuance, to understand context, to make good choices with the data you have.
Exactly. And the text lists a whole suite of other vital, uniquely human traits that teachers help cultivate. It says teachers help students learn values.
Values. Integrity, honesty, respect.
Yeah.
You don't learn those from a chatbot.
The text says teachers help students learn discipline.
Discipline. The willpower to sit and do the hard work when a shortcut is available.
The text says they help students learn communication.
Communication. Looking someone in the eye, reading body language, understanding tone.
They help students learn teamwork.
Teamwork. Navigating the messy ego dynamics of working with other human beings.
And they help build critical thinking.
None of those things can be downloaded. You can't prompt your way into discipline or teamwork.
Precisely. They have to be modeled by a mature human being. They have to be practiced in a physical room filled with other flawed, emotional human beings.
That human element.
A good teacher uses the AI to handle the data transmission so they can spend all their energy helping students become resilient, well-rounded thinkers.
Therefore, the text delivers a very clear mandate for schools. It says schools should not simply ban AI.
No, banning it is foolish.
Banning it is foolish. It ignores the reality of the world these kids will graduate into. But conversely, schools must not fully depend on it, because that breeds the weakness we discussed earlier.
The dependency trap.
Instead, the text argues schools must teach students how to live with AI.
To live with it. To treat it as a powerful, slightly unpredictable partner. It is a tool, not a master.
But this adaptation isn't just for kids in a classroom. Everyone listening to this right now has to adapt to this new paradigm.
Every single one of us.
This brings us seamlessly to Section 5, the 6 skills for the AI era. The text introduces a framework called the New Human Skill Set.
The new skill set.
I want to take a substantial amount of time to unpack each of these 6 skills. We need to explain them slowly and deliberately because this is the survival guide for the next decade. Let's look at Skill 1.
Skill 1 is critical thinking. Now, this is a buzzword, but the text defines it very specifically. It explains that critical thinking in the AI era means not believing things immediately.
The suspension of immediate belief.
Yes. The default human setting is often to trust what we see, especially if it looks authoritative.
Right.
When an AI generates a beautifully formatted report or a photorealistic image of an event, your biological reflex is pure acceptance. The text says you must actively fight that reflex. You must pause.
The text gives 3 specific actions for this pause. You must ask questions, check evidence, and think carefully.
It's a defensive posture. Ask questions. Who programmed the model that generated this? What data was it trained on?
Checking the source.
Check evidence. Is there corroborating proof for this wild claim outside of the AI ecosystem? Think carefully. Does this logically track, or does it just sound highly confident?
You have to be on guard.
When machines can generate infinite volumes of highly persuasive, articulate fiction, critical thinking is your only cognitive shield.
Skill 2 on the text list is communication. It states that even with AI doing the writing and the translating, humans still desperately need to explain ideas, persuade others, work in teams, and build relationships.
Think about corporate life. An AI can draft a perfect, polite email to a client in 3 seconds.
Flawless grammar.
But an AI cannot sit in a room with a hesitant client, read the tension in their shoulders, look them in the eye, and build the emotional trust necessary to close a deal.
We can't feel the room.
Communication is not just the transfer of syntax. It is the transfer of human energy. Persuading others, navigating team politics, building empathy. These are deeply analog biological acts that a machine fundamentally cannot perform.
The machine handles the text, the human handles the subtext.
Real said.
Skill 3 is creativity. We explored this deeply in the art section, but as a practical daily skill, the text reminds us that AI gives ideas, but humans must choose the meaningful ones and turn them into real value.
Creativity shifts from being an act of pure generation to an act of curation.
Curation.
The AI is an infinite geyser of possibilities. But a geyser is just chaos. Your human skill is the act of selection.
Picking the right one.
You sift through the 50 ideas the AI gave you. You apply your lived human experience to identify the one idea that actually resonates with reality, and then you do the hard, frictional work of turning that idea into something valuable.
Skill 4 is ethics. The text defines ethics in this context quite simply as understanding right and wrong regarding how we deploy these tools. It outlines 5 specific ethical questions we have to ask ourselves. First, is it fair?
Fairness. If a company uses an AI algorithm to screen resumes, and that algorithm is trained on historical data that favors one demographic over another, is that fair?
That's a huge problem.
Does this tool give an unearned advantage to someone while systematically hurting someone else? We have to audit the justice of the output.
Second question, is it safe?
Safety isn't just physical. Could this AI system cause emotional distress? Could it cause financial ruin if an automated trading bot goes rogue?
The unforeseen consequences.
We have a moral obligation to ensure the systems we rely on don't endanger the public.
Third, is it honest?
Honesty goes to the core of authenticity. If you use AI to write a deeply personal apology letter to your spouse and you present it as your own struggle with words, is that honest?
Are you faking it?
Are we using the machine to manufacture false realities or spread disinformation?
Fourth, does it harm others?
We have to look at the collateral damage. If implementing this AI system aggressively automates away 100 jobs overnight without a transition player, what is the human cost?
Real human impact.
If it damages someone's reputation via deepfakes, that is a profound ethical failure on the part of the user.
And fifth, does it respect privacy?
These models are hungry for data. Are we feeding sensitive, confidential client information or personal medical histories into a public AI prompt, just to get a quick summary?
Giving away secrets.
Ethics demands that we protect the boundaries and the data of others.
So that encompasses ethics. Skill 5 is AI literacy. The text defines this as understanding 3 things: what AI can do, what it cannot do, and how to use it responsibly.
Traditional literacy meant you knew how to read a book. AI literacy means you know how to read the machine.
Reading the machine.
You have to know its superpowers, its ability to synthesize, code, and brainstorm. But you must also intimately know its blind spots, its tendency to hallucinate, its lack of logic, its inability to feel.
Knowing its limits.
You have to approach it with a responsible, informed mindset, treating it like a powerful, slightly dangerous, heavy machinery.
And finally, skill 6 is lifelong learning. The text highlights a brutal reality technology changes quickly.
It changes so rapidly that the text insists the old model of life is dead.
Completely dead.
You can no longer go to school for 4 years in your 20s, get a degree, and coast on that knowledge for 40 years. The ground is moving too fast.
The text gives 4 explicit instructions for this lifelong learning phase. First, we must keep updating our skills. Second, we must stay curious. Third, we must adapt to change. Fourth, we must learn new tools.
Keep updating, stay curious, adapt, learn. Notice that all of these require active, continuous motion.
You can't stop moving.
It's a mindset of permanent beta. If you decide you are finished learning, the technology will run you over. You have to keep the fire of curiosity burning until the day you die.
To put a bow on this section about skills, the text offers an incredibly powerful, summarizing thought. It says, in the future, the strongest people will not be those who know everything.
Let's pause on that first half. Will not be those who know everything. Knowing everything used to be the ultimate flex.
The smartest person in the room.
But now it's literally impossible, and frankly, it's irrelevant because the machine already has the entire repository of human knowledge on standby.
Right. So who are the strongest? The text concludes, the strongest people may be the people who can keep learning.
The capacity to learn is the only durable asset. Not the static knowledge you hold, but the dynamic ability to acquire new knowledge, unlearn obsolete methods, and adapt to the tool in front of you. That is the ultimate human strength.
Which brings us to the final act of our journey, Section 6, the human test.
The human test.
We have reached the philosophical climax of the source document. We've talked about the microphone amplifier, the terrifying trap of dependency, the sanctuary of human creativity, the necessary revolution in education, and the 6 survival skills. How do we synthesize all of this into our actual daily lives?
The text pulls everything together by grounding us in one fundamental, unshakable truth. AI is just a powerful tool.
It's a tool. It's a hammer. A hammer can be used to build a gorgeous cathedral, or if swung blindly, it can smash the windows.
Exactly.
To help us internalize this, the text provides 3 final, powerful analogies. I want to unpack the simple, undeniable logic of each one. The first analogy is the calculator.
The text says, for example, a calculator can help us do math faster, but students still need to understand math concepts.
Let's look at the mechanics of that. The calculator handles the friction of the computation.
Right.
It pushes the numbers around and gives you the final sum instantly. But if you do not fundamentally understand what the concept of multiplication actually means in the physical world, the number on the screen is completely useless to you.
It's just shapes on a screen.
You have to hold the conceptual architecture in your mind while the tool handles the grunt work.
Exactly. The tool handles the speed. The human handles the concept.
The second analogy is the car. The text says a car can help us travel faster, but people still need to know where they are going.
Think about the pure logic of a vehicle. A car is an astonishing piece of engineering. It can hurl you across a continent at 80 miles an hour.
Incredible speed.
But the car possesses zero intrinsic motivation. It has no destination of its own. If you sit behind the wheel without a map, without a goal, without a desire to go somewhere specific, you will just burn gas, driving in aimless circles.
You go nowhere fast.
The machine provides the velocity, but the human must provide the vision.
The machine handles the speed. The human handles the direction. The third analogy is the search engine. The text says, a search engine can help us find information, but we still need to judge whether the information is true.
The search engine is a retrieval mechanism. It will instantly dump 10 million pages of data onto your screen faster than any human librarian ever could.
Instant access.
But the search engine is agnostic to the truth. It does not know the difference between a peer-reviewed scientific fact and a deeply entrenched conspiracy theory. The human mind must look at the retrieved data and apply the friction of judgment.
The machine handles the retrieval. The human handles the truth.
Yes.
Now, applying these three analogies directly back to AI, the text gives us our final marching orders. It outlines 4 deliberate choices we have to make. First, it says, we should use AI to become better learners, not lazy learners.
A better learner uses the AI to break down complex topics so they can understand them more deeply. A lazy learner uses the AI to generate the summary so they don't have to read the book.
Second, it says, we should use AI to become better thinkers, not weaker thinkers.
A better thinker uses the AI as a sparring partner to challenge their own assumptions and find holes in their arguments. A weaker thinker asks the AI for an opinion and just adopts it as their own.
Third, it says, we should use AI to become more creative, not less original.
A more creative person uses the AI to generate wildly diverse starting points to explore new territories of meaning they wouldn't have reached otherwise. A less original person just clicks generate and copies and pastes whatever the machine spits out.
And fourth, it says, we should use AI to build human connection, not avoid human connection.
Build connection. If the AI is saving you 3 hours a day on drafting emails and writing reports, do not use those 3 hours to stare at another screen.
Get off the screen.
Use that saved time to look your colleagues in the eye, to collaborate face-to-face, to build the emotional bonds that machines can never replicate.
Which leads us to the ultimate thesis statement of the entire source document. The text states, boldly, the AI era is not only a technology test.
It is not a technology test. We aren't being tested on whether the microchips are fast enough or the code is clean enough. The technology already passed its test.
The text says it is a human test.
A human test. It is testing us. It is holding up that mirror we talked about at the beginning.
And what exactly are we being tested on? The text lists 4 final pillars. It tests our wisdom.
Wisdom, knowing the difference between what we can automate and what we should automate, knowing when to wield the tool and when to deliberately put it down.
It tests our responsibility.
Responsibility. Owning the consequences of the content we generate and the actions we take, rather than blaming the algorithm when things go wrong.
It tests our discipline.
Discipline, the sheer willpower required to do the slow, hard, frictional work of actual practice, even when a shiny, instant shortcut is staring you in the face.
And it tests our values.
Values. Protecting the sanctity of the human experience, our emotions, our ethics, our pursuit of truth, in a world that is increasingly trying to digitize and optimize everything.
That is the ultimate test. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into episode 17, AI and the Human Future. We've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We started by exploring how AI acts as this incredible microphone for our minds, an amplifier that can help us learn faster and work more productively, but only under the strict condition that we continue to think, judge, and learn for ourselves.
From there, we looked into the dark side of convenience. We dissected the real danger of becoming lazy and dependent, realizing that true cognitive strength requires the slow, deliberate friction of writing, problem-solving, and remembering.
We debated the existential crisis of art, coming to the conclusion that while AI can generate the content, the words, and the pixels, humans must always provide the purpose, the feeling, and the underlying truth.
We examined how the education system has to fundamentally shift from a model of memorization to a model of interrogation, teaching students how to ask better questions and verify answers, which makes the human teacher's role in building judgment and values more critical than ever.
And we broke down the 6 vital survival skills for the coming decade: critical thinking, communication, creativity, ethics, AI literacy, and the absolute necessity of lifelong learning.
Ultimately, recognizing that AI is just a tool like the calculator or the car. It provides the speed and the power, but we are solely responsible for providing the understanding and the direction.
I want to speak directly to you, the listener, right now. I want to leave you with the final, echoing encouragement from the very last lines of the text we explored today. The text says AI will not automatically make us stronger or weaker. The result depends on how we use it. The choice isn't predetermined. It is entirely in your hands. As the test concludes, keep learning, keep practicing, and keep thinking for yourself.